So we're going to do the Apollo 11 VR experience. Going to go to the moon here. This is my first time ever doing it. So let's see how it goes. That's really cool that NASA had a big part of it, but it's not endorsed by NASA in any way. Oh, okay. Any reference? But I know that they did use actual historical audio and such.
To achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
All right, let's do this. So you just do cinematic, where you just watch it happen. You could do interactive, take control during docking, landing, and moonwalk sections. Yeah, I'll do interactive. That sounds better.
No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. And now, if America's new spacecraft succeeds in reaching Venus, we will have literally reached the stars before midnight tonight. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. New ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this city of Houston, this state of Texas, this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond. And we have vowed that we shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom and peace. The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind. And its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win on the other side.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Well, that's a pretty amazing opening.
I think the momentous, most memorable thing that I can recall about that particular day was the opportunity while my
Boy, look at that. That's great.
To the spacecraft to stand alone by myself out there and look at the rocket and the quietness and see the sun come up and the waves rolling in and the evidence of the millions of people watching, but nothing specific and just so quiet, and to realize that indeed such a contrast was going to take place, all the frantic activity preparing the rocket, but it's so quiet up there for me personally, and that in a very few moments we were going to be departing in a great roar off for a momentous event.
I thought we had a 90% chance of getting back safely to Earth on that flight, but only a 50-50 chance of making a successful landing on the first attempt. There's so many unknowns in that descending from lunar orbit down to the surface that had not been demonstrated yet by testing. It's a risk-reward equation, and you're able to accept a level of risk so long as it's commensurate with the reward that you will get by achieving the goal that you're after.
Quarters.
1 minute, 35 seconds on the Apollo mission, the flight to land of the first men on the moon. All indications coming in to the control center at this time indicate we are go. 1 minute, 25 seconds and counting. Our status board indicates the third stage completely pressurized. 80-second mark has now been passed. We'll go on full internal power at the 50-second mark in the countdown. Guidance system goes on internal at 17 seconds, leading up to the ignition sequence at 8.9 seconds. We're approaching the 60-second mark on the Apollo
Minute 2
11
seconds.
mission. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong just reported back. It's been a
Such
real
small
smooth
windows.
countdown. We passed the 50-second mark. Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds.
Now these have all been
and
historically
counting. We are smooth
recreated
with Apollo
to be,
11. 30
it
seconds
was
and counting.
actually on the Apollo 11. That's pretty impressive.
Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower clear.
We got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on proper heading. Plus 30 seconds.
Roll complete and engine program. One round.
Altitude's 2 miles.
Oh, 11 Houston, you're good at 1 minute.
Downrange 1 mile. Altitude 3, 4 miles now. Velocity 2,195 feet per second.
11 Houston, thrust is go. All engines, you're looking good. Hi, Roger. You're loud and clear, Houston.
We're through the region of maximum dynamic pressure now.
11 Houston, your guidance is converged. You're looking good.
Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second.
Stand by for mode 1, Charlie. Mark, mode 1, Charlie. 1, Charlie.
Cliff Charlesworth taking a staging status.
This is Houston, you are go for staging. Tower's gone. Roger, tower. Board cut up.
Inboard engines out.
I'm in board cut up. Houston, be advised the visual is go today. This is Houston, roger out. Yeah, he finally gave me a window to look out.
Nighttime on this side of the globe, daytime on that.
certainly does affect your perspective. And then when you see it, tiny as your thumbnail held out in front of you at arm's length, that sort of gets your attention. A beautiful sight, tiny, pristine, blue and white, very fragile-looking object, shining like a beautiful little headlight out there in the black velvet of space. It does change your perspective. It makes you think that we have to take better care of this little fragile entity, because it is fragile.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Slightly less than 1 minute to ignition, and everything is go.
Roger, Apollo 11, go.
Ignition. We confirm ignition, and the thrust is go. Apollo 11, this is Houston at 1 minute. Trajectory and guidance look good, and the stage is good.
Apollo 11, we're showing velocity 35,570 feet per second.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Around 3.5 minutes. You're still looking good. Your predicted cutoff is right on the nominal.
Roger, Apollo 11, go. We're showing velocity 35,570 feet per second. Altitude 177 nautical miles.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are go at 5 minutes.
Roger, Apollo 11, go.
Okay. Alright, so you separate, flip yourself around, capture the lunar module from inside the casing of the rocket. Okay, let's do it.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Your go for separation. Our system's recommendation is...
Oh, that's pretty.
Both spiral buses, over.
Okay, Spiral B coming armed. My intent is to use bottle primary one as per the checklist, therefore I just turned day on.
Roger, we concur with the logic.
Here we go, huh? Alright.
Alright, Neil, we need to rotate the spacecraft now. Okay, we got the Eagle in view.
Boy, that's touchy.
Moving forward. $40 meters. 30 meters. 25. 20 meters. 15 meters. 10 meters. Fast. 8 meters. 6. 5 meters. 3. 2 meters. 1 meter.
Missed docking target, huh? Okay, okay. So I was going too fast and I was off. Alright, let's try again. I'll try that again. Alright, let's do this.
Okay, we got the Eagle in view.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong spot. That's why I failed it so miserably before. Alright. I was grabbing on the thruster before.
Moving forward. $15 meters. 10 meters. 8 meters. 6. 5 meters. 3. 2 meters.
Very touchy.
1 meter.
Extracted, right? Yeah. Unsafe forward speed of docking target, huh? Alright. Target alignment was good. Incidence angle was good, but I was just going too fast. You don't think about it. I mean, there's no brakes. There's no really reverse thrusters or anything like that. So it adds a bit of difficulty to it. Ready. Oh, I can decelerate with that? How do I decelerate by pressing the button? That's interesting.
Okay, we got the Eagle in view.
Oh, line it up. Get that pitch right, and then go forward. So there's like this little eyesight reticle that allows me to line it up. Translate a little better, right, left, up and down.
Moving forward, 25. meters. Meters.
You know, the complexity of this in real life, like I've screwed up twice now, but in real life you don't have that option. Like, these guys had to be so on point and so deliberate to make sure that everything they did was 100% correct, or else they would have botched the whole mission and even risked their very lives.
6. 5 meters.
So much respect for the men who bravely went into space when they had such
3.
low technology. There was no quality to it beyond now. Our phones have more processing power than this entire spacecraft. Did not pass, huh? Well, I'm just going to skip to the cinematic then, because I don't want to go for a fourth try. We'll see what happens. I was going very slow, I feel. Oh good, it's actually going to show me the correct way of doing it. That way, next time I come through this, if I do it again, I'm sure I will. Alright. Oh, and that's who's calling off the meters, is the guy over there. I'm guessing Buzz Aldrin, unless I'm supposed to be Buzz, I'm not sure.
Okay, we got the Eagle in view.
Alright.
Moving forward.
Did you have to have a certain amount of speed?
10 meters.
Because I feel like they're going much faster than I
8
was.
meters. 6. 5 meters. 3.
I also feel like I had a better alignment.
2 meters. 1 meter.
Interesting. They really slowed it down. I'm curious how they did that, because I tried that.
And capture.
Okay.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Radio check, over.
Roger, we've got the high gain locked on now, I believe. Auto tracking now.
Okay, you're coming in loud and clear, but Mike is just barely readable.
How is Neil? How are you reading, Mike?
Loud and clear now, Mike, and we understand that you are docked.
That's fine. Houston, we're ready for LEM ejection.
Roger, go for LEM ejection.
Thank you.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Houston, Apollo 11, go ahead.
Roger, could you give us some comments on how the transposition and docking went, over?
Yeah, I thought it went pretty well, Houston, although I expect I used more gas than I've been using in the simulator. Except for using a little more gas, and I'd be interested in your numbers on that. Everything went nominally.
This is Houston. Roger, we copy.
It's a neat quote. I think we're going to the moon because it's in the nature of the human being to face challenges. It's very true. Oh, we're in lunar orbit, like on the dark side of the moon here.
Eagle, Houston, the alignment and the initialization look good to us, over.
Roger, thank you.
Eagle, Houston, would you have Columbia go to the high gain, yaw 0, pitch -20, over?
There you go, 1 minute till take. You guys take care.
See you later. Apollo 11, Houston, we are go for undocking, over.
Roger, understand.
Roger, Eagle, undock.
Roger, how does it look?
The Eagle has wings.
Roger. Eagle, Houston, we see you on the steerable, over.
I do believe you got thrusters on board that vehicle.
Okay, you've got it. Do it, native.
Roger, let us know when you're ready to copy. We have a DOI pad and a PDI pad, over.
Guidance says we're go. Coming up on 5 minutes to ignition. Gene Kran's getting a go, no-go for descent.
Okay, all flight controllers, I'm going around the horn. Make your go, no-goes based on the data you had prior to LOS. See, we got it back. Give me another few seconds. We're going, fine. Okay, retro, go. Vital, go. Guide, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. Jinsey, go. Ecom, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go to continue PDI.
There's Orion, the only constellation you can see every night in Florida. Oh, and there's the moon, or the Earthrise. That's awesome. Alright, so let's see if I can do this than I did at extracting the LEM. Alright, so I need braking, visibility, phase, landing, phase, landed. Thrust. All thrust is provided by a single rocket under the center of the lander. Wow. You need to angle the craft to slow its descent for a soft landing. Translate left, right. Hold up for additional thrust. Toggle landing site marker. Okay, pitch forward, back. Left, right. Let's do this. As soon as somebody demonstrates the art of flying, settlers from our species of man will not be lacking on the moon and Jupiter. Who would have believed that a huge ocean could be crossed more peacefully and safely than the narrow expanse of the Adriatic, the Baltic Sea, or the English Channel? Provide ship or sails adapted to the heavenly breezes, and there will be some who will not fear even that void of space. Johannes Kepler, Letter to Galileo Galilei, 1610. A mere 66 years after the Wright brothers' first powered flight, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin attempt landing on the moon. Wow, look at that. That's pretty amazing. It's the lunar module. Alright. So...
Altitude 5,200 feet.
Not keeping us very good on point, am I? Keep that pitch. Keep that pitch.
4,200. Finger, go for landing, over.
Keep it on our gyroscope there.
Go for landing, 3,000 feet. Top arm.
What's that? Master alarm. Oh no. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. I need to land.
2,000 feet. Into the ag, 47
Nope.
degrees. Roger.
I messed this one up something bad, huh? Alright, I failed badly. Flew out of range. We're gonna try it again here and see how this... Oh, I should have read the hints. Alright.
Altitude 5,200 feet. Altitude 4,200. Finger, go for landing, over. Roger, interfering. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Top alarm. 1201. 1201. Roger, 1201 alarm.
Ah.
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees. Roger.
Man, I don't even understand how to do this, apparently. Once you begin manual control of descent, you will enter P66 as shown in the above display. At this point, Data Register 1 shows your ground speed in feet per second, and Data Register 3 shows your altitude in feet. Use the gauge shown above to verify your pitch relative to the moon's surface. The more you are pitched over, the faster you fall. Okay. Try it one more time, and if I fail, then we'll just go to the cinematic. Ah, of course.
Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Roger, interfering. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Top alarm. 1201. 1201. Roger, 1201.
Pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it. There we go.
47 degrees. 1,400 feet still wind. 37 degrees.
Roger, 1201.
Too far, too far, too far, too close, crashed. Ugh. Alright, we'll do it one more time. I said one more time last time, but this time I have a little bit better feel of how I'm doing it, so I'm going to give it one more shot. And then we'll go cinematic.
Altitude 5,200 feet. Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Feet.
Roger, interfering. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Top alarm.
I'm adjusting.
1201. Roger.
Dang it.
2,000 feet.
Dang it. I don't know. I'm just going to go to the cinematic and watch it happen the way it's supposed to. I tried. I'm not very good at it. Of course, I've had no simulator time, so yeah. And this is why I'm not an astronaut in 1969.
See if they got me now. I got good signal strength and flu.
Okay, you should have me now, Houston.
Eagle, we got you now. It's looking good, over. Eagle, Houston, after yaw around, angled S-band pitch, -9er, yaw, +18.
Altitude 5,200 feet. Manual attitude control is good.
Roger, copy.
Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Roger, interfering. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Top alarm.
Got a master alarm.
1201.
Roger, 1201 alarm. Where go? Same type. Where go?
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag, 47 degrees. Roger. 47 degrees.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
Altitude 1,600. 1,400 feet, still looking very good.
Roger, 1202, we copy it.
35 degrees.
I'm gonna stick my head out in space.
750, coming down to 23.
Look at that.
700 feet, 21 down, 33 degrees. 100 feet, down to 19.
I know it's breaking the rules.
540 feet, down to 30, down to 15. At 400 feet, down at 9. Gate forward. 1050 feet, down at 4. 30, and a half down. They're pegged on horizontal velocity. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. On 1.5.
See if I can look at his.
1.5 down.
Look at that. I can. Oh, sorry. I can even look at his window. Look at that. All right. I'm sorry, Neil.
Got the shadow up there.
It's the exit hatch.
50 down at 2.5. 19 forward. Altitude, velocity, light. 8.5 down. 220 feet. 13 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. Within 60 feet. 6.5 down. 5.5 down. 9 forward. And 20 feet. 100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. 5%. 185. Stay 75 feet. That's looking good, down a half. 6 forward. 60 seconds. Lights on. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward.
Dust getting kicked up from the thruster below.
20 feet down 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward. Drift into the right a little. Down a half. 30 seconds. Forward. Just. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. ATA at a descent. Mode control both auto, descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 413 is in.
Lunar contact.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Griffin, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
A bunch of guys are about to turn blue. I'm breathing again. Thanks a lot. That's pretty cool.
At the foot of the ladder, the limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. Although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. As the fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot. I only go in a small fraction of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch, but I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads and the fine sandy particles. Yeah, this is Houston. We're copying. There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around.
Alright. Warning, jumping and smoothly moving around using the left stick may be uncomfortable. Use with caution. Oh no, I'm gonna jump around this moon. Deploy all experiments and explore the landing area. When you're ready to leave, just approach the lander and click on the leave surface icon near the ladder. Alright, let's do this. Oh, so wait. Interact or teleport. I don't do that. Take a photo. Jump. Oh, that's a shame I can only snap turn.
Beautiful view. Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here. Magnificent ventilation.
No, I can more than that.
I'd like to evaluate the various paces that a person can traveling on the surface.
The laser ranging retroflector experiment was deployed on Apollo 11, 14 and 15. It consists of a series of corner cube reflectors which are a special type of mirror with the property of always reflecting an incoming light beam back in the direction it came from. These reflectors can be illuminated by laser beams aimed through large telescopes on Earth. The reflected laser beam is also observed with the telescope, providing a measurement of the round-trip distance between Earth and the Moon. This is the only Apollo experiment that is still returning data from the Moon. Many of these measurements have been made by McDonald Observatory in Texas. Laser beams are used because they remain tightly focused for large distances. Nevertheless, there is enough dispersion of the beam that is about 7 kilometers in diameter when it reaches the Moon and 20 kilometers in diameter when it returns to Earth.
Wow.
Because of this very weak signal, observations are made for several hours at a time. By averaging the signal for this period, the distance to the Moon can be measured to an accuracy of about 3 centimeters.
That's
The
impressive.
average distance from the Earth to the Moon is about 385,000 kilometers. The laser ranging retroflector experiment has produced many important measurements. These include an improved knowledge of the Moon's orbit and the rate at which the Moon is receding from Earth, which is currently 3.8 centimeters per year.
Interesting.
Oh, that looks beautiful from here, Neil. It has a stark view beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here.
The passive seismic experiment detected lunar moonquakes and provided information about the internal structure of the moon. This experiment studied the propagation of seismic waves through the moon and provided our most detailed look at the moon's internal structure. The Apollo 11 seismometer returned data for just 3 weeks, but provided a very useful look at lunar seismology. More advanced seismometers were deployed at the Apollo 12, 14, 15 and 16 landing sites and transmitted data to Earth until September 1977. Each of these seismometers measured all 3 components of ground displacement: up-down, north-south and east-west. If a seismic event is observed by 3 or more seismometers, the time and location of the event can be determined. Because seismic waves from distant events travel deeper into the moon than waves from nearby events, by measuring events at various distances from the seismometer, one can determine how seismic velocities vary with depth in the moon. In turn, this information can be used to study the moon's internal structure. Most of the events observed by the seismometers were due either to moonquakes or to meteorite impacts. However, the third stages of several Saturn V rockets and the ascent stages of several lunar modules were deliberately crashed into the moon after these spacecraft were no longer needed. These man-made crashes produced seismic events of known times and locations and helped to calibrate the network of seismometers.
Interesting. So I didn't even know that was a thing.
See some purple rocks? Find the purple rocks? Yep. And
Oops.
incidentally, these rocks, very powdery surface.
I'm jumping around on the moon. Gone in a crater.
A little difficult to dig through the initial crust. Very interesting. It's a very soft surface, but here and there where I plug with the contingency sample collector, I run into very hard surface, but it appears to be very cohesive material of the same sort.
Oh, that's all the farther they want you to go.
Neil, this is Houston. Based on your camera transfer with the LEC, do you foresee any difficulties in SRC
Fair enough.
transfer over? Difficulties in SR? Negative. Be advised that a lot of the rock samples out here, the hard rock samples, have what appear to be vesicles in the surface. Houston, roger out. Okay, the descent engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating from the descent engine, but very insignificant amount.
It's the camera. Ah, here we go. Let's see what this is.
Back up and partially close the hatch. Okay, Houston,
Oh, it's
I'm
the
going
flag.
to change lenses on you. Roger, Neil.
The Lunar Flag Assembly, or LFA, was a kit containing a flag of the United States, designed to be planted by astronauts on the moon during the Apollo program. 7 such flag assemblies were sent to the moon, 6 of which were planted, the exception being the one carried on Apollo 13, which had to abort its landing due to a serious spacecraft failure. The nylon flags were hung on telescoping staffs and horizontal bars constructed of 1-inch anodized aluminium tubes. The flags were carried on the outside of the Apollo lunar module, most of them on the descent ladder inside a thermally insulated tubular case to protect them from exhaust gas temperatures calculated to reach 2000 degrees Fahrenheit or 1090 degrees Celsius. 6 of the flags were ordered from a government supply catalogue and measured 3 feet by 5 feet. The last one planted on the moon was slightly larger, at 6 foot wide, the flag which had hung in the Mission Operations Control Room in the Manned Spacecraft Centre for most of the Apollo program.
Interesting.
Neil, this is Houston, radio check, over. Hi, Roger. Houston, loud and clear. Roger, out. Loud and clear, Houston. Neil is now unveiling the plaque that is... For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's 2 hemispheres, one showing each of the 2 hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, BT. We came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States. Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston? Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. Neil, this is Houston. We're getting a picture. You're not in at the present time. We can see the bag on the LEC being moved by Buzz, though. Here you come into our field of view. Okay, it's quite dark here in the shadow and a little hard for me to see that I have good footing. I'll work my way over into the sunlight here without looking directly into the sun. Tranquility Base, Houston. Roger, go ahead. Roger, our guidance recommendation is pings, and you're cleared for takeoff. Roger, understand. We're number 1 on the runway. Roger.
It's crazy.
36 feet per second up. 5 to pitch over. Very smooth. Balance come along. Very quiet ride. There's that one crater on there. Feet high, 80 feet per second vertical rise. Here you go, Houston. Request manual start override. Roger. 2,600 feet altitude. Eagle, Houston, you're looking good to us.
"44 hours after leaving the lunar surface and at a speed of 36,000 feet per second, Apollo 11 hits Earth's atmosphere, heating up the..." Oh, I didn't see the rest of it. I wonder if we're going to do re-entry. Oh, yes.
Houston, we got the service module going by.
Roger, thank you.
And it's rotating just like it should be. Thrusters are firing.
800 nautical miles high, velocity 33,000 feet per second.
Houston, we'll have you for about 3-4 minutes through Redstone and then pick you up after blackout through arrive. Roger.
Guidance reports Apollo 11 right down the middle of the corridor.
And 11 Houston, you're going over the hill there shortly. You're looking mighty fine to us. See you later.
Boy, I could only imagine. Just all of a sudden there's fire all around you. You've never done this. As you go crashing backwards into the earth.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
Apollo 11, Houston, through arrival. Apollo 11, Houston, and the line, airboss has a visual contact.
Just take my head out in space.
Apollo 11, Houston, standing by for your disk reading, over.
That's insane.
Apollo 11, this is Hornet, over. Apollo 11, read the last core. Our position 1330, 16915.
Aircraft reports visual with 3 full tubes.
Condition of crew, over. Condition of crew, 4,500 feet on the way down. 11 is Hornet, copy. 11 Hornet, what's your splashdown error, over? Okay, our splashdown error is our warranty longitude 1330, 16915.
Kickstarter, really. Oh, that's cool. And all the backers, different names in the credits. That's pretty cool. Oh. Interesting concept. Alright, so for me, I think that doing it as having the option to have the controls of it, I think is a neat concept, and I think it's something that I'll probably mess with later. For my first viewing, I wish I would have just done the cinematic, because I feel like when you had to try to figure out the controls and stuff like that, it took you out of the whole experience of understanding the feeling and everything about the mission. I feel like it gave that separation of immersion, which you already kind of have with the in-between load screens, which I understand is a necessity as well, though. There's no way they could flawlessly present all the information and everything without the different load screens. So I think for first-timers, it would be a good idea to do just the cinematic experience, and then for a second time through, try to learn the controls of it and stuff like that. Overall, I thought it was a very impressive experience. I feel like it's on par with many things that you would experience even over at Kennedy Space Center, which I've been to a few occasions. It doesn't have the majesty of, like, say, the Atlantis shuttle exhibit over there, but it still has a lot of incredible moments, some great educational moments in this experience here, this Apollo 11 VR experience. So I recommend it. It's worth the $12, I'd say, because again, you can have the historical aspect of it, the educational aspect of it, and then you can also turn around and have fun trying to do the little missions, since you can do stage select. You can practice the landing and stuff like that. So overall, I think it was definitely worth the $12. I think it's a neat experience, and thanks for watching.